Welcome to my drawing of Hogwarts, where I'm going to show you how to draw it yourself. I start with a horizontal line for the ground. We're going to change that as we go along, as it's built on a cliff, but it's a good place to start. The rectangle on the left is for the Great Hall, and then I added a roof on top with a slight slope on the left side of it. And here is another part of the Great Hall. And behind that is a large tower, which I start by drawing a simple rectangle with another rectangle slightly wider on top of it. For the spire, I just pick the middle point of the rectangle and draw upwards. That will be the point of my triangle. And then on the left, I add these little turrets sticking out, which I believe is Dumbledore's office. There's a small tower in front of the Great Hall here, and this is where I start to add a little bit of the cliff falling away in front of that small tower and to the left of the Great Hall. This large fall away of the cliff here is because there's a bridge between the Great Hall and the east wing of Hogwarts. So here I'm just drawing some lines across to start the bridge. Here I'm adding in some buildings behind the bridge, and this one has an archway in it. And at the end it has one of several towers that I'm going to draw. Essentially they're rectangles with triangles on top. This one's got a little extra detail in. Again, from the middle of the tower, draw upwards to find the point of the spire. Just adding in the roof to the building with the archway in the middle, and adding a few little details. And this is a building behind the archway, which you can see just through the archway. And just going back to add a little bit more detail, a few spires on top of the Great Hall roof. A couple of small towers here on the other side of the bridge before a larger tower is going to be drawn. So this small tower here is the edge of the larger tower, which I'm drawing now. Just making sure it's the right size compared to the tower on the left. So there is the spire for the tower on the right side. I'm just drawing some extra details of the towers around this main tower. There are smaller towers jutting out of the edge. And again, there are another little turret coming out of the roof there. And the tower is broken up into a few sections, each of which has its own thin towers, which I'm adding on here. And another spire in front of the tower as well. And this is a lower bit of building. I'm breaking it up into equal sections because it has some equally spaced windows, which I'll add soon. And to finish the drawing on the right hand side is one final largish tower. Just going to adjust the cliff slightly, as again it's not a flat surface. I just made sure that my drawing of the ground area went right to the edge of the paper. I didn't leave any gaps of the ground area because that's really going to help me when I add some colour on my computer later on. Okay, I'm going to go over it now with a pen, starting from the left, going to the right to avoid smudging as I'm right-handed, and if you're left-handed you're going to want to start on the right-hand side of your paper. I'll speed it up now whilst I add in some detail. You can use my detail to follow along, or you can change things a little bit. It's not going to matter if it's not 100% accurate. Whenever adding the windows, I made sure they were fairly in line, as wonky windows would look a little strange. So I took a picture and imported it to Krita, which is a free Photoshop alternative. I'm not an expert in Krita, so I won't pretend to know everything about it, but using the magic wand tool to select the whole ground there was possible because when I was drawing I made sure my cliff went right to the edge of the paper. So that's important. It makes it a lot easier to select a whole space if it's enclosed with a full line. Then I just painted it brown and reduced the opacity. The sky, I made this dramatic red colour with a gradient. And now I'm just going to add a little texture with a watercolor brush. For the building itself, I just added a brown wash over the whole drawing and reduced the opacity. And then again with the watercolor, using black color but reduced opacity again, I started to add shadow on the building where it was needed. So there is the final drawing. Hope you like it. if you do subscribe, and let me know what I should draw next. Cheers!